Welcome to the Yoga Therapy Institute. My name is Montserrat and I'm the program director of our yoga therapy school. In fact, the first question that we want to ask ourselves is, what is yoga therapy? Well, yoga therapy is the professional application of yoga tools and techniques adapted to the individual for the promotion of health and well-being. So let's see what that means. Let's go part by part. So first of all, we talk about yoga tools and techniques. So how are we going to use that, and which yoga tools and techniques do we use? But as a matter of fact, all these yoga tools and techniques are going to be adapted to the individual. So we're not going to talk generally about asana, pranayama, or dharana, dhyana. We're actually going to use some of their elements. And the main elements that we're going to use in yoga therapy are going to be, first of all, the physical and body adapted practices. Secondly, we're going to use the breathing techniques. As I said, we're not going to start with pranayama. Pranayama is actually an advanced practice. But first of all, we need to find out how is our client breathing and how can we actually encourage functional breathing. So first the physical practices and body adapted, then the breathing practices. Then we're also going to use in the third place, relaxation and restorative yoga, adapted to the individual again. Then on the fourth place, we're going to introduce, in fact, yoga philosophy and traditional yoga elements, but they're going to be actualized. And what does it mean actualized? It means that they're going to feel the evolution of yoga to the current times and the current days, so that we make it live nowadays with real clients in real life in the world that we live in. The final element that we're going to use is again adapted meditation, yoga nidra and mindfulness techniques. So also will be adapted to the individual. As we know, sometimes mindfulness and even meditation can be triggering for our clients. So we're going to talk about how can we work with somebody who has the symptoms, for example, of trauma experience in this realm. So we have those elements of the tools and techniques of yoga that we're going to adapt to the individual in order to be able to work safely with them. This brings us to the subject of safety, of course. How can we guarantee that we are going to work safely with our clients in a safe manner? But first of all, the first way that we're going to work safely is by making sure that we receive the correct training. That means a minimum of 2 years, preferably in a program that is accredited by the International Association of Yoga Therapists, the IAYT. We all have good intentions and we all want to help, but it is very important that we receive the right training in order to work safely and in a professional manner. The second part of safety is going to be guaranteed by receiving the correct trauma-informed training or trauma training. Now, that trauma training can be part of your diploma, of your yoga therapy diploma, or perhaps you want to do it independently. You want to do it perhaps somewhere else, and you want to receive extra training in this area. Whatever you decide to do, to be trauma-informed is really part of our work as yoga therapists in order to work safely with our clients. Now, that brings us, of course, learning and getting the sufficient training, science-based, because yoga therapy is science-based and science-informed, being trauma-trained, we need to make sure that then we work within our scope of practice. So as much training as we receive, we still are bound to professional scope of practice to make sure that we work within the safety that we're trained for and that requires from our profession. Finally, regarding safety, we need to make sure and be very aware of establishing an equal collaborative relationship with our client. Sure enough, we work within a therapeutic environment, but we need to make sure that we work outside of the guru environment. So not a guru culture where the therapist is up here and the student is down below. The therapeutic relationship in yoga therapy is equal. That means that we're going to have a conversation, we're going to have an exchange with our client, and we're going to ask them questions, and of course they're going to learn from us, but we're going to learn from them to ensure that there is a safe relationship and that yoga therapy is applied in a safe manner. So just to summarize, these are the elements that are going to guarantee safety within yoga therapy. First of all, the right training, minimum of 2 years, the IAYT normally accredits programs that are a minimum of 800 hours. And secondly, to make sure that we receive the correct trauma training as well, to make sure that we're trauma-informed therapists. The third, really important, that we work within our scope of practice. So if there's an area that goes outside of our profession or that perhaps you feel that you're not sufficiently trained for, to make sure that you do the right referrals and that perhaps you don't work with that client in that specific case. And finally, of course, that we establish that healthy, equal, collaborative relationship with our clients to make sure that we work in a safe manner. Safety is the main principle that we need to attend to in yoga therapy. So I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation that we've had today and that you've learned about what is yoga therapy and about how to work in a safe manner. And our next video, we're going to talk about how are we going to combine science-based knowledge and the traditional yoga knowledge together to create yoga therapy. Thank you for listening.